Welcome to this month's roundup of news and polls from Ipsos MORI. As Britain marks its first month outside the formal custody of the European Union, the proportion of people worried about Brexit is down, and nearly half of us now say they're happy with the way Boris Johnson is doing his job, and that's up 11 points since December. At the same time, most of us acknowledge that there's a lot more work to get Brexit done completely, and only 19% think it is now done, which is probably just as well, because they might be disappointed otherwise. As Labour tries to find a new leader, we found that most people haven't made up their mind about the candidate. Sir Keir Starmer is clearly ahead. We've got a third of the public who say he has what it takes to make a good Prime Minister, including 45% of Labour voters. And Mr Corbyn's preferred candidate, Rebecca Long-Whaley, is languishing in third place and has got a lot of work, I think, to turn around her negative perceptions of her, at least amongst the public, if not amongst Labour members. But we'll see. Elsewhere, concern about the NHS is now down, but of course the public will be interested to see what's announced in the budget on the 11th of March and in whether that will actually fulfil their anxieties about public spending, particularly on health services. And in terms of the economy, the Brexit bounce does seem to have sort of passed through. We've got 3 in 10 now expecting the economy to improve over the next year, and that's 8 points since last year, although it is still only 3 in 10, and there's still plenty of pessimism out there. And one of the reasons for pessimism, of course, is the coronavirus. I mean, although that hasn't yet impacted on global consumer confidence generally, it has already had a significant impact in our tracking in China, and indeed most people are expecting it to have a global impact, with the Japanese most likely to agree, 84%. So quite a lot of uncertainty, and with coronavirus this is literally something that seems to be changing on an almost daily, if not hourly basis. Elsewhere this week, we're launching Global Trends 2020, and this is our 3-yearly study that explores the attitudes of over 22,000 people in in 33 countries, over 370 questions. We've dived deeper into the data than ever, and it covers virtually everything that we could think about. It's a really in-depth and broad survey looking at brands, society, technology, sex, religion, politics, individualism, hedonism, health, you name it, it's there, all at the website on the screen at the moment. Climate emergency is the strongest value across the world, interestingly. 80% of people globally saying we're heading for disaster unless we change our habits quickly. The challenge, as Global Trends shows, is that we don't all agree on the solutions. So we'll see how it goes. But we do have a significant rise in concern about it. And in Britain, interestingly, our issues index during February showed the highest concern we've measured in 30 years on the environment. And that's before the full impact, I think, of the floods that we're seeing across Britain makes itself felt. Finally, we've also looked at what you might die of. That's a bit depressing, but in our latest Perils of Perception series, we found that most of us underestimate our likelihood of dying from heart disease or another cardiovascular disease, but we all massively overestimate the number of people who die in violent incidents. So much more likely to die of heart disease, so watch your chips, and much less likely to get killed in a violent crime. So perhaps feel a bit safer. Much more this month as well on things like podcast audiences and also how kids use apps to learn. As ever, let us know what you think. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you.